I want to
Sure,
get your
sure.
perspective on. So let's go from change to
Mm,
balance. I've
okay.
had some wonderful conversations recently with some guests. Chris Martin, who
Mm,
says that balance is bullshit. David Arsenault said balance is an illusion. In the business athlete performance lab, we don't believe in work life balance. I think that's just a nice checkbox of, okay, work life. But what the hell does that mean?
yeah.
What is balance to Di Manuel?
I'll be the first to admit I've always struggled with the juggle of life. And because, like most people, when you're living a life that you're loving, you're going to have a lot of balls in the air. Okay. Like, it's a given. And you're going to drop some things from time to time. It's all good. Just use a bouncy ball. But regardless, this struggle with the juggle is very real for all of us. And I used to think that I needed to create balance or at least find it somehow. Maybe it was this magical far off place that if there was a secret map or code word to get in, I was going to find it. But I realized the more people I connected with, the more people I followed, the more content I consumed to try to realign my idea around how to actually do this, I realized I couldn't. And it was very frustrating because it didn't matter. I could have the most well thought out calendar and perfectly scheduled days and time for my
Mhm.
health, time for my fit, like all these morning routines and rituals. I could be very prescriptive and very methodical. I'm an organized guy, and I thought that's what I need to do. And then I realized inevitably the balance was never sustainable.
Mhm.
And so what I realized was forget balance. I'm done with trying to find balance or create balance. No more. But what if my goal was to create harmony in all the areas that I do in life? Different idea here. Think about an orchestra. You've got all these instruments doing their own little tune. Any one on its own sounds okay. You put them all together and you have an orchestra there, like a conductor guiding them. You have this beautiful work of music, but any one part on its own doesn't make a lot of sense. And I think in our life, we are so dynamic as human beings, and that's just the nature of who we are. We're dynamic as a species. But why not look to create an orchestra or more a melody from our life and create the harmony between all these parts of it? Because then inevitably you have to focus on one area at a moment and then you can focus on another area, but it's recognizing that they're all connected, and so that's really my goal now is how do I create more harmony in my life rather than trying to find balance.
I like that. I like that approach. Creating more harmony instead of balance.
Mm,
Di, do you struggle with the same thing I struggle with as a father?
mm,
There's some days I look in the mirror and ask myself, man, am I a good dad?
uh,
And honestly, right? Because I think I'm a good dad. I did, no, nobody ever taught me. I didn't go to
yeah.
dad school, but I wrestle with it some days, man. I do. I'll be really honest with you. Do you?
There's been some pretty hard moments with my kids. I have 2 daughters. They're now 19 and 21. Both at
Wow.
university now. So I'm an empty nester now as of, this September. So it's,
Oh, that's a whole new transition for you and your wife then.
oh,
That's probably
it's
show number two then.
it's I'll tell you right now, I'm still trying to navigate that. It's been really challenging, especially for my wife. That's been really hard for her, and
Yeah.
for me, it's also been hard because 20 years of our life, we've always had kids around, and now we don't. And so it's been even my wife and I trying to reconnect and rekindle and just figure out this way of life again, but now without the kids always there. And where I'm going with this little side story is that I've always struggled with that exact same question. And more specifically, that personalized question: am I a good dad?
Yeah.
What does it mean to be a good dad or a great dad even? And if I there's been some pretty hard moments with my kids. I have 2 daughters. They're now 19 and 21. Both at
Wow.
university now. So I'm an empty nester now as of this September. So it's
Oh, that's a whole new transition for you and your wife then.
oh,
That's probably
it's
show number two